Algebra 2 students to the homework help video. Page 74, these numbers right here. Let's go ahead and get started with the homework today. The directions for 5, 6, 7, and 8 say to find the slope of the given line. Now, in your notes, I've taught you two different ways to find slope, okay? If it's a graphed line, in other words, the line is written on a coordinate plane, like this one here is, then you use the formula rise over run, okay? And if it's not graphed, if the line is not graphed, then you use a formula that is y minus y over x minus x, okay? Now, having said that, for numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8, we obviously have graphed lines, okay? They're lines that are graphed for you. Now, there's no work for number 5. They want me to find the slope of a what line? Horizontal line. And we learned in your notes, all horizontal lines have a slope of 0. So that's it, we're finished. If you have a horizontal line, then you will have a slope of 0. Okay, number 6, they want us to find the slope of this line. Now, I'm looking for a nice, what I call sweet spot, okay, where the line is going right through the crosshairs. When I say crosshairs, I mean like this right here. All these little intersection points are what I call crosshairs, okay? So, like right here, if I put a point right here, that's not a good point because I'm not sure what I just did there. But anyways, if I put a point right here, that would not be a good point because it's not right on a crosshair. So I'm looking for where the blue line goes right through a crosshair, like right here and right here. That would be good, okay? Here's another one. Here's another one. Well, Mr. Earhart, which 2 points do we use to find our slope? It doesn't matter. You can use, I'm going to use these 2 points here that are way far away from each other, okay? So I'm going to use rise over run. So I draw my right triangle like this. Straight down, straight over, okay? Or if you wanted to, you could draw your triangle like this. You could go straight over and straight down. It doesn't matter. The rise and the run will be the same on either one of those 2 triangles. This triangle here or this triangle over here. It doesn't matter, okay? Having said that, now let's go ahead and find the slope. I want rise. Start here and count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my rise is 6. Notice I did not count where I put my pin. I put my pin here, but I did not count. I did not count until I started moving my pin. So I put my pin here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's count the run. Start here. 1, 2, 3. So my run is 3. 1, 2, 3. So rise over run reduces to 2 over 1, which is just 2. Now, starting from the left and going to the right, the line is sloping upward. Starting from the left and going up, starting from the left and moving to the right, the line is sloping upward. So it's a positive slope. Now, Mr. Earhart, what if I had used different points like this? Alright, well, let me show you. It doesn't matter which 2 points you use. The fraction will still reduce down to 2. Let's say I chose this point here and this point here. Over, straight down, there's your right triangle. If you count your rise, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. If you count your run, it's 1, 2. So your rise over run, 4 over 2, still simplifies down to 2. If you used these 2 points here, you would have a rise of 2 and a run of 1, which is 2 over 1. It does not matter which points you use, as long as they lie on the line and as long as they go through a crosshair, okay? Alright, let's take a look at number 7. Alright, now, the line is going through a crosshair right here. And it's going through a crosshair right here. So I'm going to use those 2 points, okay? Now you can go down and straight over, or you can go up and over. It does not matter. It's just as long as you have a right triangle, okay? So I went down and over. Here's my right triangle right here, okay? There. Now, my rise, obviously if you put your pencil here and go up 1, it's 1. It's not 2. You do not count where you put your pen. You put your pen here and then you move. You put your pen here, then you move 1. Or you put your pen here and then move 1. So the rise is 1. The run, you put your pen here and you go 1, 2, 3. Or put your pen here and go 1, 2, 3. So the slope is rise over run. You cannot reduce that. However, notice, go to the left side of the line over here on the left side and work your way down to the right side. Notice it's going downward. From left to right, the line is going downward. That's a negative slope. And so your answer is negative 1/3. Okay? Alright, moving on to number 8. That is a vertical line. We learned in your notes that vertical lines have no slope. It is undefined, no slope. Okay, moving on to numbers 9, 11, and 13. Now on 9, 11, and 13, they want us to sketch the line that has that point and the slope. Now I did not forget to teach you this in your notes. I kept your notes very basic on purpose to keep the video short. But I knew you'd watch the help video, so let me show you what to do here. There are some other problems in your homework in which you also are going to have to that I've not showed you exactly how to do the problems, but I've given you the general knowledge, okay? And that was not a mistake. I just wanted to make the video short, okay? Now, go to negative 3, 1. So negative 3, positive 1 right there. Now from that point, we've got a slope. The slope is 2. Got it? We can put 2 over what? 1. So my rise number is what? 2. What is my run number? 1. Look at it again. Your slope is 2. And 2 can go over 1. So there's your rise and run. So from this point, you rise 2. 1, 2. Then you run 1. Now would you go to the right or to the left? Well, you tell me, is this number here, is the slope positive or is the slope negative? If the slope's positive, you go to the right, which makes sense. If the slope is negative, you go to the left. What about the rise, Mr. Earhart? Listen, always go up for your rise. Always. If someone else has taught you differently, I'd like you just to do it this way, okay? Always go up for the rise. It's easier to remember. Rise always means go up. Run can mean left or right, but rise means to go up. So you start here, your rise is 2, 1, 2. Your run is 1. You go to the right because it's a positive slope. So rise 2, 1, 2. Go to the right and put a point there. And there's your line. That's pretty simple, guys. Okay? There you go. So you graphed a line knowing only 1 point and the slope. Let's try a couple more, okay? Number 11, all right? Now your point is 4, 0. That means you go over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you go up or down 0. So you stay right there. So positive 4, and you do not go up, you don't go down. Now, your slope is negative 1. Now remember, you can put negative 1 over any number over 1, okay? Now don't worry about the fact that your rise is negative. Look, I already told you, for your rise, always go up. Always, always, always. Look at it like this. You have a negative over a what? Positive, which makes the whole slope become what? Negative, okay? That's the best way to do it. Rise always means go up, and then your run will be to the left if it's negative, to the right if it's positive. So here's my point, 4, 0. My rise is 1, so I'm going to go up 1. My run is 1. I go to the left because the negative, the negative sign. So rise 1, run 1. Put your point and then draw your line, okay? Now my lines aren't going to be very pretty, but you get the idea, all right? Okay. Number 13. Now, first of all, my point is 6, 5, so I go over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if that had been a negative over 6 and down 5. If that had been a negative 6, then I go 6 to the left, then up 5, okay? So watch your signs. So positive 6, positive 5. Now my slope is 0. Now what kind of line has a 0 slope? A horizontal line or a vertical line? Well, horizontal line. So you know what to do if the slope's 0. Then you simply draw a horizontal line going through that point right there. There you go. Piece of cake. Done. Moving on. Okay? Not too bad. Alright. Numbers 15 through 23. There's 6 of these. We're going to find the slope using our formula y minus y over x minus x. Okay? Because these are not graphed lines. Okay? These are not graphed lines. So, here we go. Let me copy this real quick so I have this to use again. And here we go. Now this is my x, this is my y, this is my x, this is my y. Y minus y. I'm going to start with this y. So I have 1, and then minus, and then my next y, which is negative. So 1 minus a negative 4. You've got a double negative there. 1 minus a negative 4. And then for your x's, it's 3 minus 6, or 3 negative 6. Now, if you struggle with your sign numbers, use a calculator. Type in 1 minus a negative 4. 1 minus a negative 4 is really 1 plus 4, so you get a 5. 3 negative 6 is negative 3. So you have a positive over a negative, so the whole slope becomes what? Negative. You cannot reduce 5/3, so your answer is negative 5/3. Really pretty simple, guys, okay? Now, well, let me hold on. I'm going to hold on to that thought. Okay, let's go on to number 17. Now, here's our formula. So here's my x, here's my y, here's my x, here's my y. Now, the last problem I start with my y over here, and that's fine. I'm going to start with my y over here. You can do that as long as when you go to your x's, you start with this x here. So y minus y, 8 minus a negative 3. 8 is my y, then minus, and then negative 3. X minus x, now you started here with your y, so start here with your x. 2, and then minus 16. And here we go. 8 negative minus a negative 3 means 8 plus 3. That gives you 11. 2 negative 16 is negative 14. Now, a positive over a negative makes the whole fraction negative, and you cannot reduce 11/14. So the answer is negative 11/14. Number 19. I'm going to pick up the pace now and go a little faster. X, y, x, y. Up top we have y minus y, so 5 and 9. 5 minus 9. In the denominator we have x minus x, 4 and negative 1. So 4 minus a negative 1. Be careful with your signs. 5 negative 9 is negative 4. 4 negative negative is positive, so 4 plus 1 is 5. You have a negative over a positive. That makes the whole fraction negative. 4/5 cannot be reduced, so your answer is negative 4/5. Number 21. Y minus y. So here's a y and here's a y. 2 and 3. So 2 minus 3. Then x minus x. Here's your x and x. 4 and negative 14. So 4 minus a negative 14. 2 negative 3 is negative 1. 4 plus 14 is 18. A negative over a positive is negative. And 1/18 cannot be reduced. Moving on to number 23. Y minus y. 6 is a y and 0 is a y, so 6 minus 0. X minus x, negative 2 and 10. Negative 2 minus, and then 10. Okay. Okay. Let's see, we get 6 minus 0 is 6. Negative 2, negative 10 is negative 12. So I have a positive over a negative, which is negative. 6 over 12 reduces to 1/3, or 1/2, excuse me. So your answer is negative 1/2. Students, it's really, really simple to find the slopes of lines that are graphed, like the first problems we did, or slopes of lines that aren't graphed. It's not that difficult. Okay, number 31. Now I know that I did not teach you how to do 31 through 35, but that's okay. I intentionally gave these to you to make you think, okay? And to also, to make you apply what you've learned, okay? It's really important. Okay, the directions say which line is steeper. Well, guys, this is really easy to do. Watch this, please. We're going to start off with line number, or letter A, okay? So we're going to start with these 2 points right here. Let's find the slope of line A. Okay, or line 1. Line 1, here we go. Y minus Y, that's 4 and 6. Y and Y. So 4 minus 6. Then X minus X, that's negative 3 and 1. So negative 3 minus 1. So 4, negative 6, negative 2, negative 3, negative 1, negative 4. Negative over a negative is positive. 2 over 4 reduces to 1/2. So I found the slope of line 1. Now let's find the slope of line 2. So here we go. Using these 2 points right here, y minus y. So here's my y, negative 5 and 2. So negative 5 minus 2. Then here's my x's, 1 and 6. So I have 1 minus 6. Negative 5, negative 2 is negative 7. 1, negative 6 is negative 5. Negative over a negative is positive. Positive 7/5. So there's that slope. Now, we have found the slope of both lines. That's pretty easy to do, okay? The question is which slope is steeper. Now, some of you can figure this out without really thinking. Others need a little guidance. So let me give you a little guidance. Could you graph both of these lines and look at them? You could. It's not going to take a while. I have a better idea. Whichever fraction is bigger has the steeper slope. Isn't that easy? So this is line 1 here. This is line 2 here. How do you know which fraction is bigger? Well, in case you struggle with that, the easiest way to do it is to write both of these fractions with a common denominator. Now, let me stop. I know both. Most of you can see that 7 over 5 is 1 2/5, and 1 2/5 is bigger than 1/2. But what if it's not that easy? What if one slope is 13 18s and the other slope is, that's not a very good example. What if one slope is 7 9s and the other slope is 8 11s? Okay? I mean, maybe you can tell by looking, but my advice is to just get a common denominator real quick. And whenever you get a common denominator, then whichever fraction is bigger, you'll be able to tell because the top number is going to be bigger. For example, if I change 1/2 to 10, we know how to do that. 2 goes into 10 5 times 1 is 5. 5 goes into 10 2 times 7 is 14. That's pretty much middle school math, okay? So I increased 1/2 to 5/10. I increased 7/5 to 14/10. Which fraction's obviously bigger? 14/10 is, okay? Same thing with these 2 fractions here. If I got a common denominator for these 2 fractions right here, the common denominator would be 99. Well, 9 goes into 99 11 times. 11 times 7 is 77. 11 goes into 99 9 times. 9 times 8 is 72. Now you can tell which fraction is bigger. 77 over 79 is bigger than 72 over 9. 77 over 99 is bigger than 72 over 99. Thus, this fraction here is bigger than this fraction here. I'm just trying to give you some practice so you can see this, okay? It's important that you know how to compare slopes and tell me which line is steeper. So out of these two fractions, which one's bigger? This one, which means this fraction is bigger than this one. So line 2 is your steeper slope, or B, which is the same thing as line 2. Now once again, unless you think I'm being really boring, I understand that probably a lot of you could look at the two original fractions right here and see that 7/5 is bigger than 1/2, because 7/5 is an improper fraction, which means you really have 1 2/5. And over here you have a half of a whole, okay? But still, just in case there's ever a time where you struggle with comparing fractions, write them with a common denominator, okay? Now, these next two problems are pretty tough, but we can do this. It says, are the two lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, I want to take you back to geometry. We covered this in geometry last year. Parallel lines have identical slope. So if one line has a slope of -3/4 and another line has a slope of -3/4, then we know those two lines are parallel. If one of them is -3/4 and the other is +3/4, they are not parallel. And they're not perpendicular either, by the way. They're not parallel. In order for two lines to be parallel, their two slopes have to be identical. Now, how do you get perpendicular slopes? Two things have to happen. The signs have to be opposite, so one has to be negative, one has to be positive, or one has to be positive, one has to be negative, and they have to be reciprocals, in other words, flipped. So if this is 3/4, this has to be 4/3. These two slopes here would be slopes of lines that are perpendicular. Now, we covered that last year in geometry, okay? But I wanted to go over it again, so probably it'd be wise for you to take notes of this and not forget this. Parallel lines have identical slopes. Perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite reciprocal. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and find the slope of line 1. Alright, here we go. Line 1, I'm going to go pretty fast now. Y minus y, 7 and -5. So 7 minus -5. X minus x, that's 1 and -3. So 1 minus a -3. That would give us a 12 up here and a 4 down here, which would then give us a positive 3. Okay, now I'm only going fast because I think you guys are getting this pretty easily. Now, let's find the slope of line 2. My y's are -20 and -2. So -20 minus -2. My x's are -6 and 0. So -6 minus 0. Alright. Well, -20 minus -2 is -20 plus 2 or positive 2. That's -18. -6 minus 0 is -6. Negative over negative is positive. 18 over 6 is 3. So do we have completely identical slopes? Yes, we do. So the two lines are parallel. Let's try 34 or 35. Now, let's find the slope of line 1. My y's are -13 and 4, so -13 minus 4. My x's are 3 and 22, so 3 minus 22. Alright, -13, -4, it's -17. 3, -22 would be -19. Negative over negative is positive. Positive 17/19. Now let's find the slope of the second line. And here we go. Y minus y, my two y's are 2 and 9. So 2, -9. My x's are 6 and -8. So 6 minus a -8. And that would give me positive 2, -9 is -7. 6 minus a -8, 6 plus 8, that's positive 14. A negative over a positive is negative. And 7/14 reduces to 1/2. Now, are these two slopes identical? No. Okay? They might be, but they might be perpendicular lines. Are your two signs opposite signs? Yes. One's positive, one's negative. So far, so good. If you take 17 over 19 and flip it, you get what? If you flip this fraction, what do you get? 19 over 17, which is not 1/2. So no, these two lines are not perpendicular either. So they're not parallel and they're not perpendicular. They are neither. Okay? This has been a really good homework homework assignment. I hope you guys are taking good notes, paying attention and listening well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.